Hey everyone, I know this isn't the type of video you expect from me, but it's one that I felt was necessary to make because I really wanted to give more extended thoughts on my latest project, Blue Bones. It was a rough script, well, rough script, rough voice acting, rough drawings. It was rough everything. It was really more of a proof of concept kind of thing. Was the original intent, and uh, and it was a big undertaking for me, and I'm pretty proud to have at the very least completed such a high effort undertaking like this. And it was difficult at times, and there was a few hardships in the middle of it, and there was a lot, and there were some delays, but in the end I'm proud that it got finished. But I really wanted to make this video because there were some things that I wanted to explain, not only to, I guess, whoever might be interested, but also, I guess, more so to myself, just to get my thoughts out there on the whole thing, because this was a very big project for me, and it's a thing that I think will give me the building blocks and wisdom for future projects, whatever they may end up being. So I'm just gonna start giving my thoughts on that right now. So as I just said, I'm very proud to have gotten it done at all. There were times when I wasn't sure I was getting done. This is something I've wanted to do for a while, or at least this kind of concept in some way, sort of like a more script driven animation, rather than just like a drawing or like or like a fun little silly animation. This is a more script character driven animation, and I've wanted to do something like that for a while, and I'm very proud of myself for actually getting it done. Even if the quality, in my opinion, is questionable. Um, I definitely think this is worth celebrating, completion wise. But to get into some of the bad, it was definitely shorter than I would have liked. Originally, there was way more in the script than what ended up being in the final product, and it just ended up being way. And there was so much. Jeez, how do I word this? There was there was a lot that got cut out in the final script, and I set a hard deadline for myself. Well, not a hard deadline, but I guess technically a hard deadline. I set a hard deadline for myself of at most New Year's Day. Originally, I wanted this to be done for Christmas, actually, but that proved to be way too optimistic because once I started getting into the drawing, I realized how much longer it was going to take, and I'm like, even though the voice acting was done by that point, I needed to do the drawing, and I thought I was going to have it done way sooner, but I realized how much effort I was putting into the drawings, and I just needed more time. So I set a hard deadline for myself of New Year's Day, and I was able to get it out, but at what cost? Um, so yeah, there was more in the script that I originally had, but a lot of it got cut out in the editing process. My editor and I, we were workshopping on that script for like a good while, and it was kind of, and when we got it to a satisfactory state, there was a lot that got cut out, and I didn't quite grasp just how short it was gonna be. The final product was gonna be until it was pretty much done. Because once I started doing all the post production editing and all the drawing and all that stuff, I took a good look. I took a good look at it, and I took a good look at it, and I was like, dude, this just feels like way too short. Not way too short, but it feels shorter than I think it could than it should have been. And but by that point, it's like it's New Year's Day right now. Right, like as I was saying that, I'm like, it's New Year's Day. Like if I'm gonna delay this project, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It might not get out ever. And it would be and I'd have to bring in my buddy for more voice acting. I'd have to rework the script. It would just be so much more effort. Um, and that would just make the deadline like I would miss my deadline, and I really wanted to try and stick to it. And I did, and to its credit, I did stick to that deadline. But again, at the cost of the final product, maybe not being as good as it could have been, because there was some stuff in the script that helped better contextualize the situation of the characters. And I think if more of that contextual information was given, it could have been a bit more intriguing to watch, and a bit more. Geez, what's the word? Immersive to listen to. Hearing about the lives of these characters and how they got there, and what they're going through right now. I thought that there was a lot of that was missed in the end, and a lot of that is. And I'm gonna put myself on that. My editor, and I cut out a lot, but I'm gonna put myself on the spot for that because something I learned a lot of things. I'm going to talk about that more and more, but I learned a lot of things from this project, and one of them was to stand my ground a little bit in the editing process. Like, if I'm truly passionate about like a certain idea or like certain lines, I think I should fight a little more to keep it in, despite what my advisors may think. Of course, I will take their opinions and their thoughts, and I will incorporate that into the work. But but I do wish that I stood my ground a little better. Um, when it came to that, because in the end, the script just felt shorter than it could have been, the and there could have been more contextualization within the characters. Um, Another thing that I think what contributed to my feelings of the inadequacy of this creation is there was um, my buddy who voiced Mr. Bones. He had the perfect voice for it. I am satisfied with his voice. I think it was perfect in that sort of character driven situation, and I think he was a good fit. But and it's not like I'm throwing him under the bus here. Me and him have talked about this, and he's admitted it to himself and to me, and others who have watched the animation and given their opinions. It's kind of like it was his first time doing a big voice acting thing like that, and he thinks he could have done a better job, and I would have agreed. It was his first time voice acting. I gave the best direction I possibly could give him. To give him the like put him in the head of this character, like the context of their situation, how they got there, and like really get him into the head of this character and get him into the mindset of that character. But he just wasn't getting it, and he did the best he could, and even though it was only technically really a couple lines of dialogue that he voiced for, I made him reduce so many retakes. We were recording for like over an hour and a half. I made him do so many retakes because he just wasn't getting it, the direction I was giving him. But but yeah, so there's that. His voice acting skills are definitely going to improve with further projects, if when they ever come out. Um, but that was another bit of a gripe I had. Um, it Yeah, he just it there's room for improvement there. This is also just me giving myself notes for room for improvement. Um, and to move on to the better things. I guess before I move on to the better things, those are sort of my big gripes. It wasn't as long as I thought. I wish I stood my ground a little more in the script writing process, and kept the parts and bits of it that I was really passionate about. And the the amateur voice acting from both of us. Frankly, my voice acting wasn't perfect either. Some of my line deliveries weren't quite what I wanted them to be, but it's a first time. So it's not like I'm too distraught about this. But so there's that. I think in terms of the actual, like the physical like bad stuff, I think those are the big ones. But to move on to the things I was satisfied with. I originally intended this to be like low effort, like storyboard esque drawings, that like weren't like full like higher effort drawings, right? They were going to be a lot more sketch based. But once I sat down and started doing all the actual drawing, I just kind of got invested in what I was drawing to the point where I was putting in the effort for like higher effort drawings, and that's part of the reason why I knew I wasn't going to meet that Christmas deadline. I'm like okay, this is clearly how I want to draw this stuff, and I'm going to trust my emotions there and just try and get it out by New Year's Day. So that is part of the reason for that. But I am satisfied with how the drawings came out. I think they complemented the voice acting and got the point of the scenes across very well, or at least well enough to get the point. And others agreed. Others that watched it had similar thoughts, and I'm also satisfied with the ending. Not necessarily like the ending of it, right? Like I think like script wise, I think it's fine, but the final drawing of like Bones overlooking the balcony, and the moon's up there, and it's a full color drawing, and then it all fades to blue before fading completely for the credits. I thought that was very artistically done. I am pretty proud of that ending, the way it was drawn. So I'm gonna stand by that as well. Um, and overall, this was definitely a very, very good learning experience for me. I uh, I learned a lot about like the script writing process and like the script writing process and storyboarding and getting the ideas out there and trying to and direction for voice acting and working with others and adhering to deadlines and what can happen if you stick to those deadlines hard enough, and a couple other things that I'm definitely forgetting right now in terms of like project creation. But this was a very good learning experience, and I definitely learned a lot. And I'm gonna use what I learned for future projects. And speaking of, I have some plans for. I'm gonna start talking about the future of this channel now, and I have plans for future videos, in the likes of IRL stuff. My next video idea is an IRL video. I already have plans. I don't want to say too much right now on the record, about like when, where, how, and why, but I do have an IRL video planned. So where I'm going to be out in the world doing something, exploring, doing some urban exploring. I'll say that. I'll say that much. And I'm really excited to get that stuff out. I really want to do more with this channel and just posting more of my art and creations in social media in general, just to put myself out there a little more. And I'm gonna try and stick to that as best I can. And one of those things is this next IRL video, and I have some other animation ideas. I mean, some of them I already have sketched out and storyboarded, but I never actually sat down to do like the bulk drawing. So I do have some other stuff on the back burner that might get done someday. But you're not a true artist unless you have unfinished projects just sitting around waiting to be finished. So I definitely embody that concept, just like all the other great artists of our time. And so hopefully more animations coming this year, both comedic ones and drama centered ones. This was the big one that I wanted to get out just for the sake of getting this idea out and completed, and putting myself in a spot and setting myself up into a place where I can more easily make more content in the future. And I'm gonna try and stick to that as best I can. And I'm really excited for the future of this channel. If you made it this far, thanks a lot for hearing me ramble for however long this ends up being. And thanks for supporting the channel. I really appreciate it. I have there's more stuff to come. 2025. Uh, I'm planning on trying to make it a really good year, and there's gonna be a lot of stuff, a lot of fun stuff coming. So we'll see what happens. And subscribe, like the video, leave a comment, maybe ring that bell, and I guess I'll see you in whatever the next project is. So, yeah, thanks for sticking around this long. Uh, Love you. Thanks so much. And, stay safe out there.